All right, 112, folks. I wanted to talk a little bit more about that same chapter here in Unit 6. And here's the issue. We're in the interwar period, and so there's a lot of things happening. We know that Russia blew up, not literally, but the government blew up, that they had the communist revolution. They withdrew from World War I, and they went through all that turmoil. Now, I talked about Lenin and Stalin and all that, so I want to move on from there. What I do want to talk about is, and hopefully you know a little bit already, is the finish of World War One, because the finish of World War One is Wilson's baby. It's going to be his Treaty of Versailles, his 14 points. And the problem is, the 14 points become one. Wilson's, again, not the most intelligent man at the table. The most intelligent man at the table is going to be Clemenceau, the French person. And he negotiates the treaty in such a way that he wants to punish Germany as much as possible. He doesn't want Germany to ever be able to attack France again. And so what he's going to do is he's going to catch on that Wilson really just wants that 14th point. He wants that League of Nations. So he's going to press Wilson. He's going to press Orlando, from Italy, because those are the big three. Big four, pardon me, because he's going to go ahead and push Chamberlain, and Chamberlain wants to go home. Orlando wants the things he was promised, right? Wilson wants his 14 points, or 14th point, and Clemenceau is going to be able to speak all three languages. He is going to negotiate, and he's going to negotiate the Treaty of Versailles, and it is a punishing treaty. If you're going to remember much of anything about the treaty, remember Article 231, the War Guilt Clause. Because the War Guilt Clause says, Germany, this is all your fault, and you have to pay. And they're going to heap reparations, financial reparations payments on Germany to force them to pay for all the damage they did. They have to pay Russia. They have to pay France. They have to pay Belgium. They have to pay the United States. They have to pay Great Britain. All the debts that were heaped up. And the problem is it's going to be financially crippling. So what will happen is, in order to settle this war, the Allies are not going to bargain with the old Kaiser government. They're going to force them to change, and what you're going to get is the Weimar Republic. And the first thing the Weimar Republic does is sign this awful Treaty of Versailles. And this awful Treaty of Versailles is going to hamstring them, because what it does is it carves chunks of Germany away. It gives away all German territories. It restricts the size of the military. It restricts the size of the Navy. It eliminates air forces, because air forces are offensive and not defensive, according to them. And so what it does is it just makes Germany a shadow of what it was, and then it kills the economy, because they're paying out all this money. And what will happen is they're not going to be able to keep up with it. And when they can't keep up with it, then France will go ahead and act another portion of the treaty. And what that does is cut out a chunk of territory called the Ruhr. And the Ruhr, they're going to go ahead and take and use to make some of those payments that Germany owes. But the problem is the Ruhr is their manufacturing area. The Ruhr is where they make their money at. And so what's going to happen is it's going to even, make the economy worse. Well, some things are going to happen that are really interesting. One of the things that's going to happen is the United States is going to say, you know what, we realize this is an issue. And what we're going to do is we're going to offer to help Germany out. We're going to start pumping money in financially to them. The idea is to prop up their economy. Prop up their economy, allow them to pay Great Britain, allow them to go ahead and pay France, and then they can go ahead and pay us. If we give Germany the money, they can give it to the people they owe, and those same people owe us, so it keeps the economy functioning, and that works out well. Kind of. Okay, kind of. What you have to know is these reparations are going to kill the economy in such a way that it's going to cause financial hardship, and Germany is going to cause just what we call hyperinflation. Imagine having a job and going to work in the morning and having your spouse come by at lunch to pick up your paycheck, because if they don't pick it up then, you know that it would be worth half as much or less by the time you get off at 5 o'clock. And that's what they're looking at. They're looking at shortages of bread. They're looking at shortages of daily necessities. They're looking at hyperinflation. And the way the Weimar government is going to try to help is to print more money. Well, they print more money. They don't have backing for it, so it's going to be largely worthless. And so what's going to happen is it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Well, luckily for the Weimar government, they're smart enough to see what's going on, and so they're going to take some actions. One of those actions is going to be they're going to start investigating. They notice that there is a rise of paramilitary groups. They realize there's a rise of rebellious groups, of ex-soldiers. And so what they're going to do is they're going to hire an ex-soldier, a corporal from World War I, some guy named Adolf Hitler. And Hitler is going to go in and investigate these paramilitary organizations that are working against the government, that are talking about overthrowing the government. And his job will be to investigate them and report back to the government. Well, he does that, and he actually does a decent job. What you have to know about Hitler is he is a corporal during the war itself, and that works out relatively well for him. But the issue he's going to have is he thinks about the greatness of Germany. He thinks about this fantastic, this strong Germany, and then what's going to happen is he's going to get caught in an explosion, and the explosion is going to go ahead and put him in a coma. And by the time he comes out of the coma, Germany's already surrendered. Germany is no longer great Germany. Germany is this post-war Germany. Well, what he's going to do is he's going to be investigating, he's going to be joining, he's going to be talking, and he's going to be converted. He's going to realize that indeed, perhaps the greatness of Germany is not what it should be, and he is going to join a socialist group. There's a variety of socialist groups. I can go into all of what they were, but the one he's going to join is going to become a group that becomes known as the Nazis. Okay? And I'll let you look up the exact terminology, but here's the issue, is he's going to push to restore this greater Germany. He's going to push to bring Germany back to what it was, and then what he will do is he will start a political movement. And this political movement is going to be about overthrowing the Weimar government. As a matter of fact, what he'll do is he will get a group of people together that he calls the brown shirts, the stormtroopers, right? Going to be the stormtroopers. He's going to get them together, and a beer hall of all places, they're going to begin a push. The pushed is an overthrow. This beer hall pushed. His idea is they just need a little push. They just need a little emphasis on what it is they want to do. If they start a rebellion, then it will snowball, and the people will rise up, and the soldiers will rise up, and everything will happen in such a way that it will restore the great Germany. It blows up in his face. What it does do is get him arrested. Gets him thrown in jail, and while he's in jail, number one, he gets street cred. Everyone knows that if you belong to a gang and you end up in jail, then you get, cred. And so he gets street cred at that particular point, and while he's there, he is going to write his book. He's going to write his whole idea of what he wants to do. He's going to write Mein Kampf. And Mein Kampf, My Struggles, is his plan to make Germany great again. And when he comes out, he's going to put this to use. He's going to put this to practice. What he's going to do is start applying this. He's going to grow within the government. His party is going to take over seats within the government itself, and eventually they're going to make a push. Well, it just so happens that one of the things that happens is that once he's gained some seats, he doesn't have complete control, but there's going to be a fire at the government building, the Reichstag, and they're going to blame this government fire on a sympathizer that's trying to put his party in its place, and it's going to give him more power. It's going to give him the ability to make some rules, to make some laws, and to more or less go unchecked. And so what will happen is he will put into place his practice, his idea of making this greater Germany. And so what he'll start to do slowly but surely is break the Treaty of Versailles. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about breaking the Treaty of Versailles, because what he's talking about is he's talking about Lebensraum, the German word for living room or living space. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about the appeasement policy in Chamberlain. I also want to talk about this whole economic stock market and the bottom falling out into the Great Depression. So I'm going to let you go for now, and I'll pick that up in the next unit, next class. Thank you. Bye-bye.